Welcome to a video where I showcase 5 things that you may or may not know. Some of these facts may be in plain sight to some, but for others, this may be the very first time that you hear about them. Let's get started. Starting things off relatively small, did you know? In the Garden Warfare 1 sticker book, some entries are not labeled correctly. Some examples include the future cactus's reload duration being specified as not applicable, and that toxic, fire, and ice pea's reload duration is specified as having the same reload speed as stock, at first, despite the character stats clearly telling a completely different story. This is likely an oversight on the developer's behalf, or an example of miscommunication between the developers, since those who were working on the sticker book might not have been handed all of the information needed, and thus had to take educated guesses in order to fill the sticker book. A classic example of PopCap memento. Secondly, did you also know, it is common knowledge that the damage indicators for fire variants, or any source of fire damage, are represented by bright orange colors. This is true in most cases, though for some reason, the Welder's damage indicators, on both his impact and splash, are the normal damage indicator colors, instead of bright orange, which his fire damage uses just fine. What's strange is that in one of the developer videos showcased during Garden Warfare 1's development, the Welder actually has the proper fire damage indicator colors like every other fire variant. Why his damage indicators were changed during development is not clear, though once again, it is likely another mistake on the developer's behalf that occurred during development that carried over into Garden Warfare 2. Up next, did you know, there is one map that in a technical sense has appeared across all 3 shooters in some form, that being Suburban Flats. In Garden Warfare 1, we see the map in its entirety with the tree house to the far side, overlooking all of the various houses. In Garden Warfare 2, the map doesn't come back at all. However, if we are to head over to the zombie side and head to the far left side, we can see the exact same tree house from Suburban Flats, now zombified. We can tell that it is the same one if we have a few comparison pictures. Some speculate that the map Frontline Flats draws inspiration from Suburban Flats, and whilst it does have its similarities, it's not as close as its final appearance, being in BFN. In the latest of the shooters, the map goes under a different name, being Daisy Drive, and the map is essentially a reimagining of Suburban Flats. It keeps some aspects the same, such as the infamous tree house that overlooks the town, but many things are different, as to be more in line with the shooter's new style. Speaking of BFN, did you know, whilst it is clear that certain characters have different animations when zooming in, some characters also have unique facial expressions when either aiming or firing their weapons. These include Foot Soldier, Imp, Scientist without goggles, Space Cadet's Robot Pal, All-Star when firing, Akon, Corn, and Wizard. It's nice to see PopCap dedicated time and effort into adding in details that keen-eyed players would pick up on, whilst also adding in life into characters that didn't really have any facial expressions. Lastly, did you know, in boss mode, the player only has access to 4 abilities: a sonar, a source of healing, an airstrike, and a revive station that takes longer to recharge than 90% of fathers coming home with milk. However, there was a 5th ability that boss mode was supposed to have, but ended up being scrapped during development. This 5th ability could be seen in the trailer for boss mode, and by searching through the files, remnants of this 5th ability can be found. From what can be found, the ability goes by the name of Supply Drop and drops a crate that slowly floats to the ground. Upon being destroyed, it will either spawn a dark flower for the plants or an engineered turret for the zombies, most likely placeholders before the actual purpose could be coded in. Why they scrapped it is not exactly clear, though it would have been nice to have more options in a mode that, whilst initially cool in concept, in terms of execution was done rather poorly and made the mode feel barely engaging and more of a chore to play due to the lack of interaction with the battlefield far below.